We are back, episode 14 of the Paradox Podcast with my brother Jeff. We are back, thank God. And finally,
Yeah, had a drought. Uh, right reasons.
yeah.
Some right reasons, some not right reasons. I'm so bogged down by other stuff. We were just like, all right, next week. Next week turned into 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're back. It's most important.
right. And it takes two to tango, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for both of us, it's like, again, when you do stuff by yourself, you have autonomy, you know? So, if you're going to do this, by yourself, you can choose whatever time and day and it doesn't matter. But the moment you start getting into teams and duos and whatever, it's got to work for everybody.
Indeed.
So, but yeah, this has been an interesting couple of weeks now that we're into summer and we are in a different phase, I think, in both of our creative journeys.
Yeah.
And we are talking off camera about one, escapism, but I think there was a word when we linked up yesterday that we were talking about systems. And
Mm.
I just now realized there's a really, I think, a big similarity between those two things
Mm.
of systems and escapism. So I think just for you, do you ever feel like maybe the world and where and what we live right now, do we live in like a system where it's easy to be like trapped by whether it's distraction or hey, temptation, whatever it may be? Do you think that we're very susceptible to just falling in a trap?
For a lot of us, we were born into the trap. So we didn't even really
Hmm.
we're trapped until
Right.
you reach a certain age, whether it's like going off to college or something like that, where you meet different people and you experience different walks of life, ways of life, to where you get a sense of like, oh, there's other ways to live.
Right.
You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I think yeah, it is one big trap, but some of us, we can't help where we're born or what we're born into. So it's
Mhm.
up to us along the way to be like, okay, like I noticed something's off. Let me make the change.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you think maybe the bigger trap is like the mental trap? Because you can almost say for everybody that we're kind of brought up, raised in a system in which we're kind of in shackles to some degree. To some way, we're all being held back, or we all have our obstacles. Let's just say that. We all have our obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
So, to you, do you think you see a lot more mental traps? Like a lot of us, we are holding ourselves back. Let's just say.
Yeah, a lot of it is mental, and we can see that like when you have certain case studies where like they'll use placebos to
Hmm.
trick your brain into thinking one thing versus another. Um, it is all mental. There are a lot of physical things and advertisements and TV shows and content that is put out there to keep the mental game going. But
Hmm.
like the without the mental chain, there's nothing. There's no tether to the ground. Like you can literally.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you think you've kind of experienced that? I would call it like an awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I think depending on who you are, there was a moment of like, it doesn't have to be like this, or I don't have to be this way in
Yeah.
terms of like, let's say how you think, how you conduct yourself, how you react to things. What would you say was probably like an early awakening moment for you?
I would say it was college, but it was a little bit before that. Like in high school, probably junior and senior year, when I was really thinking about life after high school. Like, am I going to college? If I don't go to college, where do I go? How does this work? Yada yada yada. When I was kind of going through that thought process, um, and this is right around the time where like my grades went to shit. Like,
Mhm.
always
Yeah.
honor roll, all that good stuff. I took pride in my grades until I discovered that it doesn't really matter. Then I kind of just stopped caring. Um, and it was some of my teachers. Like I'm learning, I'm learning from somebody who isn't sometimes where they want to be in life.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, if you didn't want to be this, what do you want to be? And then I start reverse engineering. Okay, what was the process, or what type of life did you have to live? Would you have had to live to get there? And I'm like, oh, okay, there's other ways to be successful. And it first starts with defining what success is to you, and accepting some routes are harder, some are easier, some have a blueprint, and some don't. But I think then, like that, later years in high school and for sure college when I left home. Yeah,
Yeah, I think sometimes it's seeing it like in other people, like in your environment. You have this feeling of like you question the people around you or the people you're learning from and being like, "Oh, well, these people who are so-called grown-ups or professionals or whatever it may be, you know, they're just like me." I think
yeah,
it's something along those lines is what definitely I went through too, where I was like, I think these people are just trying their best. And I don't give them any type of like superiority over me
yeah,
unless I mean, I think experience is great. I think that's why you look up to somebody who's older. Like they've lived longer, they've
right.
went through stuff. I think something I heard recently on a podcast was like we literally learn
I have one
um
in here. My bad. Give me 1 second.
you all good.
What's up, bro?
Yo, what's
How
going
you
on,
doing?
bro?
I be interrupting this nigga meters every chance I get.
All good, G.
Fuck it. Everybody, pull up. A little cameo. Continue. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good. I was just gonna say like people would say like, "Oh, listen to people who aren't around you but like closer to your goals." You know what I mean? But I think when you're younger, you don't really have any goals or like you're still finding out like your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have a north star.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of all over the place. You're just figuring stuff out, so you kind of would listen to everybody.
Mm,
And so you're kind of just like I'm not gonna say a puppet, but you're kind of like, "Oh, I'll do this. Oh, I'll try that." But you don't really have like I'm not gonna listen to so and so is not on what I'm on, and
yeah.
like I don't identify with so and so. I feel like that's a huge part of like the awakening,
Mm,
where it's like, hey, I'm gonna listen to this person because I admire who they are and what they're doing and what they're growing into, and I think that's a part of I think the system because it's like I never learned about entrepreneurship really in school. And I think what entrepreneurship really is like, hey, like you kind of like work for yourself and you build your own system and
mm,
you become your own entity in which people can work under you
yeah.
to solve a problem or to give value to whatever market or in a nutshell, that's what entrepreneurship lends itself to.
Mm,
But when we look at school, we came up in the American school system that it's about us being under something. It's about us working for a big company, us being recruited by a big company, and to look attractive as possible,
mm,
so we can be picked up to continue, like pushing these companies that are already around us forward even more.
yeah.
So again, back to questioning. Are we really in a system that wants it to question itself?
No, but I think that's what a rebellion is, or like
Right.
is a changing of the times, or changing of the guard, whatever, changing of the system. It's like there comes a point in time where somebody has to either a new generation comes up, or it's like somebody within the system is like, this is stupid. Like, what are we doing? Um, and now I think you see a lot of the change just coming from, new generations, not necessarily the older generation correcting themselves, but the kids kind of like, bruh, I can just make videos. to make a living more than you. I can just be myself, or I can make music, or I can be artistic, and do just as well, if not better than you. Um, and that's a hard concept to grasp, especially for the older generation. I've been working my entire life. This is how my life is gone. This is what I have. This is how it's supposed to be. Then you have some, snot nosed kid who just posted a video about, I just what I can do in GTA 6, a million views, and you see a check for however much. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's not good or bad. It's just how the times are changing. And if you aren't able to adapt, you get left behind. And that, I feel like, that is what people got to worry about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think you're right in terms of there's a generational like information gap
Hmm.
because I think the rate of information is changing so fast. I don't know what I read it in a book. Like there's a phenomenon where the rate at which things are changing are happening faster.
Yeah.
You know? So when we look at what generations know and what they go through, by the time these people have kids or whatever, or they look at their grandparents, those are like three different types of lives, three
Yeah.
different types of societies, three different types of way to, hey, make a living, or like, whatever the basic stuff is, what groceries are and all these type of things. So I think it's funny when, whatever, like maybe 15 years ago, like an AI company would be like unheard of
Hmm.
or extremely groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But the market for it was very like premature.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you can't really go a day on your phone without hearing about something AI company related.
Yeah. And you don't know how bad something is or how something is in general without experiencing it first. So now we see, we're living in a world where AI is a thing, robots are a thing, autonomous things are things, and a lot of us are appreciating simple living. We kind of just talked about it, like um doing things with our hands, lifting things, like exercising, getting back to just how things were.
Mm-hmm.
So again, not good or bad. This is how the times are progressing, but it lets you have a little bit more appreciation, a little bit more awareness of I don't know how not even how you like to live, just how humans should be living.
Yeah. And it's funny how subjective that statement is,
Mm,
how humans should be living, because I think that's a funny like connection to escapism
yeah.
in the system because it's like, hey, okay, let's say you are in a mental trap. Let's
Mm,
say that's how we were raised, to be in uh a mental trap that doesn't really allow us to be the best version of ourselves,
yeah.
right? And that we're rewarded for being distracted. We're rewarded for giving into temptation. We're rewarded for not really following our innermost desires, right?
Yeah.
Some people would say like, "Oh, that's okay." Like the way I'm living now is good enough.
Mm,
Because again, the treats the I'm getting positive feedback from being trapped.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's almost like what is the incentive for anybody to awaken themselves, if that makes sense? Like if you let's say you're somebody, right? Like let's say you're obese, for example.
Mm,
I told you I was on the fitness stuff. So let's say you're obese, whatever, you're overweight.
yeah.
Like, bro, you're getting an immediate gratification from food, right?
Yeah.
If I have a red velvet bundt cake,
Mm,
bro, I feel amazing. It tastes good, da da da. And since we're in a world where I think I read that the US BMI percentage right now is upwards of like, they used to say 28% to 34%
mm,
BMI, and it's probably even higher now. So let's just say that we live in a world where, oh yeah, that's what everyone does. Everyone indulges on cakes, desserts. Like, let's go on our feed right now. There's probably somebody making crazy milkshakes every day. The craziest mac and cheese recipes. I used to watch it. I used to watch them joints every day.
Yeah,
Like, there's an audience. There's a huge global audience for that. But you're rewarded for giving in.
yeah, yeah. It's easier to control you. That's all.
Right.
Like, yeah, you could see it as a reward, or you just see it as like, thank you for letting me control you, and that's how I see it. And I think that mental shift is kind of what puts things in gears. Like once you realize that you're being controlled and that there is a reality where you have some say in how your life looks, then one step at a time you start adapting different neurons and electrical impulses in your brain that causes better habits and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. All we have all the data in the world, which is what trips me out. Sometimes it is like a real addiction. Like you don't find out that you're addicted until you find out you're addicted. But once we have like the numbers of like eat this, look like this, or have this health problem or whatever, you think that's enough. But they do a really good job on making us believe that we're free.
It's again, it's so funny because I'm thinking about what you just said, like, how humans should be living. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And to me, I feel like it's such a cultural, um, like it differentiates between culture because in the US, you know how like a bunch of people are in the US because of the World Cup.
Hmm.
And it's so funny watching those videos of like people from overseas like looking at our restaurants and ordering food here and they're like, "Yo, like y'all be eating good.
Hmm.
Like the portions are bigger. Like hey, the people are bigger." Like everything seems to be like maximized, you know? And it's just so funny because they come from a culture like, yo, yeah, bro, like when I order a chicken sandwich, it's not like this. Or like something about the food here is this and that. And it's funny to think like, again, just back to the US, like our culture seems to be upholding something else. Like we care about other types of goals. So like we care about profit. We care about control and power staying within the people that had it in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we care about um, commercials talking about insurance or like insurance and medications. Like that's what I'll always see that.
Hmm.
You know, or like Ozempic and like all these things like Poly Market,
Yeah.
and Kalshi and all this. Like that's what we're about.
And what's the root of all of that? It's money.
Yeah.
They don't value money the way we value money. They come over here and yeah, I was talking to the guys the other day, like, because they were talking about the World Cup and that exact thing. People coming over here and saying these different, giving our food compliments and things like that. It's like, whole time we're dying. Like,
Right. Heart disease got us.
yeah, like
Ben had us too.
like you live a much healthier life, but again, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. It makes me think about how strong-willed you have to be disciplined. Because, we, like I told you, like before this, like I've been thinking about escapism
Hmm.
and what people choose to escape into. So I realized there's actually a good escapism and there's bad escapism. So if you see someone locked in on their health, sure, it's escapism. Maybe they don't like their work, or maybe domestically at home is not great. But you know
Hmm.
what? They're gonna lock in on their fitness and whatever, building muscles, staying lean,
Yeah.
maybe like brain health and stuff. And so that's where they choose to escape into, whereas somebody else might escape into, let's say, gambling, sports gambling. We're in the World Cup, so maybe somebody's like, "Yo, like this is gonna change my life. like I'm just gonna escape into this and being, like a pawn in that game. But it's so funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's like not wrong or right, because it's like it's what you want to do. Like you said, the free will. So
Yeah.
we know that okay, there are certain repercussions that come with each,
Mm,
and depending on what you value. Again, back to the culture thing. So if we value money like we do over here,
mm,
someone really locking in with the betting and then they end up hitting it big, we're like, yeah, bro, great. Like that's cool.
yeah.
Even though that was a form of escapism, maybe towards like real life,
Right.
but it led to something that person felt was important, and society, we will compliment you
Right.
for that. And the health, right, that's all you got. That's all you got.
Yeah.
So we live in a funny world where I think what I see now is what people choose to escape into and how that really sets them up for what their future will actually be like. And I've
Yeah.
just been very surprised once I've taken a step back and been like, whoa, like we are all kind of escaping into something.
Hmm.
Um,
And
and
the
yeah.
goal is to build a life that you don't have to escape from, and that's the
Hmm.
hardest thing that you will have to do in life. That is the hardest thing, is to break those chains because they're mental. They're not physical. There could be physical things put in place to keep the mental intact, but it's all mental. You grow up, you spend 30 years on life with the same mentality, and now you have the choice or you have the option to try something new. That's scary. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. So I get why people don't do it, but I don't know. I'd rather the pain of that than the like sometimes, yeah, ignorance is bliss, but I much rather know in this case and go through the what I need to go to or what's required to reach that um way of living.
Yeah. And I think that that is a reflection of you for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And like trying to level up and being introspective and being like, yo, I need to look at myself and be the best version of me. Because you know what? Like I heard, it's so cliche, but I think it's so true. It's you against you at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, what is it? What is that thing Nipsey said? Would you rather be
War,
at
war,
war with the world, or yeah, war? Would you rather be at war with the world and have peace within, or
yeah,
have war with yourself and peace with the world?
yeah.
And yeah,
That's bruh.
that
That's real. And that's how you like on your not your deathbed, but just later in life, you're like, damn, I wish I would have did this, or I could have said this, or I wish I would have went here with this person. Like faking it and acting like everything is okay is probably the worst thing you could do.
yeah,
Like hiding how you truly feel, just going with the crowd because everybody's doing it. Like, bro, in the moment, it may seem like the right thing or feel the best, but oftentimes, like, the things that feel the best aren't the best for you. Good,
yeah,
a lot of good foods aren't healthy. A lot of, good moments that experiences are risks, like,
yeah.
natural balance of things. Um, I, I don't know. It comes with experience too. Like again, you don't know what you don't know. So,
Especially when you're younger and you just want to fit in, or you just want to belong to something, or you don't want to be left behind. I think the FOMO aspect of like while we were teens
hell
was
yeah,
definitely crazy because
yeah.
that was like the beginning of social media, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So the fact that you would, oh, these are the places that everybody goes to. These are the foods everyone's eating. These are the shoes everyone's copping.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the term like keeping up with the Joneses, and you want to do your best to be a part of that picture. And I think in a way you are sacrificing like an inner sanity, honestly, and like peace and like acceptance of like, okay, I don't think I can do all this. Like
Yeah,
I can't keep up,
it's
with
learn from it though. That
right,
that
right.
that in where you go crazy. Like yeah, I went to a school where we had to use or we had to wear uniforms, and there was like ever so often they'd let us dress down. So that's when
Mhm.
the day that's the day where you pulled out the Gucci belt, the Jordans, the everything because you wear a uniform. So, bro,
Mhm.
I have bought three three or four pair of Jordans in my entire life. Dumbest mistake I've ever done. Not because Jordans are bad. Some Jordans are fire, and I will buy Jordans again. But the reason I was buying them was to impress other people. I
Mhm.
I had a pair of Jordans that I they were out of my size, so I bought a size up, and I'm walking to school like fucking Bigfoot, but I look flat. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So like the true like real value now is that freedom of just you know freedom of self expression. Like you're comfortable in your own skin, you're able to go where you want, when you want, with who you want. You know
Mhm.
that is like power now, and it's ironic you still have to work hard to get it.
Yeah, and I think that power to be like yourself, almost to be like, yo, this is where I'm at. And I think it speaks to just again having peace within yourself.
Yeah,
To be like, yo, I'm rocking. Hey, I got Reebok shoes on right now. That's just where I'm at. I'll make them look good, And I even, I'm not really a fashion guy, but I love that saying of like, yo, like fashion is like how you wear. It's not really what you wear.
yeah, and
And I think, yeah,
yeah,
I think that's gone now. Like if we think about when we were in school and like the brands and not mix matching brands and all this other stuff or people getting shamed, I think people are so all over the place
mm-hmm.
in terms of brands. Like there's, you know what I mean? I feel like now people just want to be like, what do you have on? But I don't think anybody's really gonna cook you. Like I don't know if you've driven past a high school or just
Yeah.
seen like all the. I'm gonna be real. I don't really see any like style, really. I think it's really uniform. Like everyone kind of just wears like.
No, it depends on the school. Like
Yeah,
I
it is dependent on the school.
know
Yeah.
we teach at schools. At these schools, bro, you'll see kids in Louis belt, Louis hat, Louis shirt, Louis shoes, purple jeans. Like it's still a thing. It's probably worse now. Nobody
Yeah.
wears Louis shoes
Right.
or like very like the select few. But like now it's a staple. They wear Louis shoes like Jordans. And it is still a thing in high school. Like it means something. It's only till you get to that like that second attention, that point of awakening where you're like, bro, this shit do not matter. And a lot of it is ugly.
Yeah.
You don't know how to dress, you just have expensive clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No swag.
Like none at all. You
Right.
couldn't even like match. You just
Just a random generator, random clothes
not
generator.
real.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But again, I think that's a trap right there. The keeping up with the fits and keeping up with I remember, when like certain food spots blow up and it's kind of like, "Oh, have you been there yet? Have you been yet? Yeah, you got to get this and that." I feel like that's ramped up now, like in the past like 5 years, especially ever since COVID.
Yeah.
Just like, "Oh my God, this place they brought back their whatever they brought back the snack wrap like oh shit, you know what I mean, just like certain things like that and that becomes like global news. I just think that I don't know, man. I feel like again I'm gonna say puppet. I do be feeling a bit like a puppet when we just kind of all grovel towards trends so quickly, grovel towards really like commercial, like it's really commercial stuff,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And honestly, bro, I don't feel peaceful like just chasing every single day something new, something new, something new, something new. It's like you don't feel grounded. And sometimes in a wild way, it's easier to escape within that than to face the reality of your situation, you know? to say like, oh, I'm like happier chasing um what society will reward me with now than to go through the long journey of improving myself. So maybe one day this won't even be shit to me, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know how you feel about just that long journey of getting right with yourself that we're both still on. I'm not, definitely not speaking of
Bro,
a veteran or something.
I have nothing but good things to say about it. And it in on this journey, as you know, like you experience some of your lowest points in life. But I still have this is the best decision I've ever made was to wake up. I could be living fine right now, like whatever, by society standards. I could have went down a path that was laid out for me and been cool, quote unquote. But bro, we got 80 years on this on this planet. It's like
If that,
if that, if it's
yeah.
the way we eat for if that, like so it's not even a matter of like what's right or wrong. It's just like don't you want to see something different? Don't you want to like experience something different? Yeah, everybody does this, but that can't be the only thing to do. So even if this wasn't your passion or your purpose, it's like what else is out there? Like I don't want to do this forever. Why would I do the same thing for 40, 50 years? Like that doesn't make sense. That,
Again, we
yeah.
get rewarded. There's perks. There's
Yeah.
incentives. A lot of our folks, that's the system. My parents came from Ethiopia. So like that was the deal. You get a good job, you got somewhere you can pay your bills and afford housing, raise a family. And it's just about finding a good enough position where you can do all that. And the only thing you're really doing is just giving up your time. Not to say that's a cheap thing. That's if anything, it's the most valuable thing. But that trade off, comparing to where my folks came from and what it was back then, that was a huge upgrade. And the
Yeah.
amount of opportunity that came from being here, I think what's interesting now is that this is a different world.
Mhm.
This is not the US in the 90s. You know what I mean? This is the US in the 2020s, post pandemic, post AI world, where maybe that proposition isn't as safe, isn't as comfortable, and it is a trap within itself.
Mhm.
And I think the bravery now is, first of all, if you are someone in that trap, how do you actually have peace? Because there are people, because I'm done telling people like they should quit their 9 to 5 and be an entrepreneur. I think I'm just realizing that's not for everyone, and that has its own stress. And a lot of people do want a good position they just really love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they feel it's kind of correlated to their passion. And if they had that, it's kind of like, yeah, I'll clock in. I care. I want to be here. I think for at this point is just how do I get peace within myself and have my freedom within a system.
Yeah. You can make peace with it. I think a lot of this discussion, I was kind of viewing things from my point of view. It
Mm-hmm.
is not for everybody. And again, there's no right or wrong. You can definitely make peace with that life. It's when something doesn't align with you,
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of just brush it under the rug and continue going on. That's the issue. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with entrepreneurship. There's nothing wrong with anything. It's when things come across your table that don't align with you or go against what you stand for or how you want to live that you just accept or take on the chin or bypass. That is the issue. And they keep shit in front of you, perks and comfortability and things like that to just keep you pushing shit under the rug. That's the real issue. There's nothing wrong with the work. It's I wouldn't say there's nothing wrong with the work, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
So, do you think it's an easier path to change the person or to change the system?
great question. Mm. Probably the system.
Mm,
If I was taught from preschool to 12th grade that there's a lane that you can go in, that you get to work for yourself and you get to help people through your passion and your purpose, but these are the steps required to do so. If I knew that knowledge, I may have not went to traditional college. You know, I think our system is very limited in options until you reach a certain age. And then
yeah.
get to that point where you see all these options available to you, you only have the skill for one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I do think it's the system. And then, once you do reach a certain age and you figure out the system you grew up in is broke, it is on you to do that work and find those people to help you break out. But yeah, if I grew up in a society that preached multiple things and I got to just get drawn to whatever I naturally was drawn to, yeah, I mean, I can only assume that life would be a little easier and make a little bit more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point because, it's funny. I was thinking that we have a lot of options. I don't know if that's what you said. We have a lot of options till we don't. Because if you think about it, let's say you get decent grades at school and you apply to 10 schools, you get
Mm-hmm.
into four.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of options, really, because four of them, they're probably some in state, some out of state.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you're there, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you can choose from these majors, probably like 50 to 100. And then from there, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you can specialize in these array of dozens of things.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe when you graduate, especially nowadays, it's kind of like, okay, you can't really do a lot. I think the illusion of optionality. And I mean, that's really, and we're only talking about just in education. Look at the grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
infinite amount of options and choices. You look on your phone, subscriptions, go on Netflix, a
Mm-hmm.
million options. Go on YouTube, an infinite amount of options.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to say that like we want to give people options, but I think people have options.
They have one section of options. They have, this is the wrong word to use. I'm going to use it wrong. Sedative options.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
So options that don't really like it kills their drive. Is it like an option that kills your need for? Is it crossing something out? You know what I mean? Like if I take this option, let's say you go to school, right?
yeah.
You go to school. Now that you're going to school, you working with your parents, let's just say, that's
Mm-hmm.
off the table now. You know what I mean? Because you took an option that crosses out a bunch of options.
Mm-hmm.
So because of how serious that's a commitment. It's like when you get married. It's like, okay, if I'm getting married, all right, I'm done dating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that option is a serious option. It kills off every other option.
Right.
So I don't know if that's what you mean by saying sedative. Like it kind of like deters you.
Bro, how do I have the time to think about starting my own business when there's a million videos of try not to laughs and 20v1s and mukbangs that are
Yeah.
aiding me, and they are they are helping me release dopamine. They're I enjoy
Ah,
I genuinely enjoy it. You get what I'm saying?
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
No, no, I know what you. Okay, I'm getting it. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like we weren't presented that option. We were presented, you do this, you get good grades, you go here, you do this, you live this type of life. But if I was taught that you can either do that, or you can do this, or you can do that, these they're slightly different options, but this is what comes with it. I may have had a different path, and it wouldn't take people so long to figure out that there are actually different paths. They just require different levels of work.
But you know what's crazy about what you just said is
Mm-hmm.
that you just said like, hey, if that knowledge was given to them,
Mm-hmm.
that would allow them to have clarity. But when you just brought up dopamine, is that if we are always hitting upon the dopamine of the viewer, of the consumer, of whoever, then they can actually never focus and act upon the knowledge they were given.
Mm,
So
Parents.
That's why optionality is like is such a tease, because
Yeah.
it's almost like it's like those videos we see on our algorithm, like, hey, like I made like 60K in 4 months doing
Mhm.
this strategy, this method on whatever it may be,
Yeah.
and kudos to whoever that was. They're probably locked in, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, and they were probably very focused. But again, back to the systems, is that we're in a system where we're like all dopamine junkies,
Mhm.
and the system depends on that
Yeah.
to keep to keep sustaining itself, which is why, like, again, like Gary Vee had this line where it's like we're done, social media era is over, we're now in interest media. So now that we're in interest media, every time we go on our phones we just see the stuff we like.
Yeah.
Everything is just what we like, and then with ads is stuff that you maybe would like.
Mhm.
And so that gives us dopamine. When I see a lady make, I'm not gonna lie, like an Oreo, I don't know, like an Oreo brookie with ice cream and da da da, I'm like, yo, I gotta watch this whole video. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, let me scroll down. I'm like, ooh, this guy's making a steak, egg, and cheese. I was like, I like that. You know what I mean? Next thing I know, I've lost 30 minutes.
Mhm.
All I've done was get high off of a perception, off an illusion of enjoying that food through
Yeah.
someone else. But deep down, I have the knowledge to break free. I have the knowledge to act upon the path I chose. So
Mhm.
it's almost like the knowledge didn't matter. The dopamine restricted me, not to not take responsibility, but I think that's the world we live in a way, is that we're so, again, sedated was completely the right word. It's
Mhm.
we're so sedated by the high dopamine content we consume to the point where we can't really focus on our North Star, the thing that we know we should be doing.
Yeah.
So I would even say back to that question, do we change the person or do we change the system? And I don't know which one is going to take longer. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? That's the part I'm stuck on, because you can change the system, but boy, oh boy, why would you change? Why would people in the system let this slide? You know what I mean? Because
Couldn't.
too many
Like,
people are benefiting off of it. Too many people.
yeah, they're not. That's why you have to start young. Again, like
Yeah.
you have to grow up in the system. It's gonna be very hard to get my parents to think differently than how they were raised. They grew up in a system, and me trying to go against that or suggest something different is foreign.
Hmm.
You would have had to be taught a certain way from birth to for that to be effective. And yeah, it takes time, and it's not going to take. It's going to take more than one person to think that way.
Yeah.
So
So you think you're better off changing yourself?
yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
clears up that question a lot more for me. Yes, you start with yourself, and then maybe you raise your kid a certain way, and then they raise their kid a certain way, and little by little, person by person, there starts to be a unspoken pact or consensus where it's like this is life now.
hmm
Yeah, so
yeah, it's crazy because escapism is like we're actually surrounded by a whole population of people trying to escape. If you look at more or less the economy, is you can't really get a job, you can't really get a house, you can't really leave your parents' house, you can't really um people don't even want to date because that makes your expenses monthly go up. There's a lot of deterrence from, man, just like participating in this world economically, to the point where it's kind of like, man, what can we do? Well, man, I mean, I heard Wendy's got a deal. Wendy's is really good. Let's go to Wendy's. I was like, all right, that's
hey,
good.
you might as well chase your dream. Can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think about it. You
And
might.
again, see, two different people now. Because there's some people who are like, yo, I might as well just indulge.
Mm,
Because the temptation and desires of everything, food, lust, gambling, whatever, whatever, then you're just like, bro, we might as well cop. Bro, we might as well do A, B, and C. We might as well. You know, tough day at work. Well, we might as well do something. And then there are other people who are like, might as well chase my dream now. Might as well make that 60K in 4 months
Yeah,
and at least change my situation.
that's where
So,
that natural selection comes into place. It's like, all right, that's when you have that divide. The people who are choosing to excel are choosing to embrace the challenge and the things that come with taking that route. Um, somebody's calling me on my other phone. And those who are just comfortable.
hmm
And that is what it is. Like there is no changing that for real. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Any if you could say one thing to help someone escape from their trap, what do you think would be a good rule of thumb for them?
mm, I mean, don't escape or don't go into something new thinking it is the right option. You make it the right option. There is no right or wrong, left or right. It's simply decisions or options that are laid out, and you kind of got to make it the right one. Go off of feeling. There are some like um what body tells or like
Mm-hmm.
your intuition, but you have to. There is no like this is the right decision. This is the wrong decision. You kind of have to make it what it is. That'll probably be it. Like have no expectations and just what makes you feel good, and nothing's gonna be completely perfect ever. It's kind of just what makes me feel the least shitty.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, I think that's a good rule of thumb. Like you said, I feel like the emotional aspect of all this is important.
Mm-hmm.
There will come a point where emotionally you can't let yourself fall any deeper. You know, you have to act,
Mm-hmm.
and that will never look pretty. I think in the beginning. And I'll even add on to that. All that glitters is not gold, and if you can keep that in mind while you doing what you're doing, that could save you time, which is our most precious. Um, I don't know, our most precious thing in this life that we can hold on to. But yeah, I think that's a wrap on episode 14. And yeah, Jeff, this was good. This was good.
Nah, I enjoyed this. Good conversation. Something that should be talked about more. And hopefully this sparks more conversations like it.
hmm Yes, sir. Well, we are out. Paradox Podcast with me and Jeff. Peace.